Welcome to Subramani. This is a topic which I've spoken about in the past, and this is going to be a longish video. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be wealthy? Of course, I've also done saying, do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be famous? And my answer has always been, I want to be wealthy. Being famous does not have any upside. In fact, if you see, it creates a lot of ill will. People hate you. People expect you to behave very differently. And let's say if you were playing cricket, let's say you were playing IPL, and you were staying in one of Mumbai's chawls, right? So maybe your family net worth was 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs, including the cost of the house. And suddenly you get an IPL contract for 3 crores. Where does it put you? It puts you, your net worth is more than everybody else in the chawl put together. So the question is, how do you handle your money, right? So that's a completely different question. Now you've got money and you've got fame. Rather, people look at it and say, wow, he's got a 3 crore contract. Hold your horses. 3 crore minus the commissions that you pay to some agent, minus the money that you give for somebody else, the amount of money you spend on training, and then of course there is the draconian at least 30% tax. So in your hand you may be having 1.5 crores, but everybody in your chawl thinks you got 3 crores. Sorry, I'm digressing. So let's come down to what is rich and what is wealthy. Being rich means you are earning well. You're either in your own business, or you are a very good salary, or you're a sports person being paid well. Any of these things can make you rich. So you're rich, you have a nice source of income, which is a big source of income. You're living well, you're taking good vacations, you drive a nice car, you live in a reasonably good house. Maybe you're living on rent, but in a good house, in a good locality. To the outside world, you are a big success, you're rolling in money, or that's what it looks like, right? So that is being rich. Being rich means, one assumption is you have one source of income. Being wealthy, on the other hand, is yes, you have one source of income, but you had this one source of income for a long time. You lived frugally, you saved that money and you invested that. So now you have maybe a higher income than the Mr. Rich, and you have it from 2-3 sources. Let's say you have a 50 or 80 lakh rupees job, but you also have a 15 lakh rupee dividend income, right? So you have created a dividend income also for yourself, with which you can live reasonably well because your expenses are low. So having low expenses has 2 advantages, that you can push your retirement earlier, or you can pull your retirement earlier. You have more money to invest. You invest, that also grows, which makes you wealthier. So what is the risk when you are rich? If that source of income dries up, you are gone, right? You have not, you don't know what you will be able to do, because that's your only source of income. You'll have to look for another job. So you're not financially free. When you're wealthy, it means you have various different sources of income. So you get to be more comfortable. If you lose your job, or if your boss asks you to do something unreasonable, you can just walk out and say, I will not do it. The other advantage is you are in control of your time, of what you want to do, with whom you want to do, whether you want to do at all, and whether you're enjoying what you're doing. Do you want to sit in those endless meetings with cups of tea, wondering whether the tea should be served in the office canteen, or whether coffee should be served, right? Or whether anything like that, anything trivial, but takes away a lot of your time. Do you want to do it at all? The answer is maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you don't want to do any administrative work. You want to be a scientist. Maybe you want to be a photographer. Maybe you want to be a musician. Maybe you want to be a cook, right? So that is the love for it which took you there. Maybe you want to be a salesman. You don't want a promotion to become a sales manager doing administrative work. So you have a choice of what to do, a choice of with whom to do. All that luxury you get because you are wealthy. But when you're rich, you're addicted to your job, because your day-to-day living depends on the job that you have. It's also important to remember whether it is rich or wealthy depends on your educational qualification, the place where you live, the profession in which you are, right? All that. Suppose you're in investment banking, and let's say I'm an investment banker and I have 5 employees, each one getting a salary of 2 crores and a bonus of 2 crores. Does it really matter whether you come in a Honda City or whether you come in a Ferrari? Because all of you can afford the same cars. So then there is no great showing off. But then if one person has got a bonus of 5 crores and another person has got a bonus of 2 crores, obviously the 5 crore guy thinks that he is smarter than the other. So right, so all this is a definition of rich. It depends again on your educational qualification, where you live. If you make the kind of money that you are making in the US but you are living in India, fairly obvious that you are very rich. But if you are living in US and making the kind of money that you make in India, you may not even make it to the top 5% of that population. You may be in the top 5% in India, but you will definitely not make it to the top 10% of the US, because the average per capita income there is say $25,000 plus. Here it is $2,000. So obviously you will have to make it's a very long distance to cover when you convert your money, your income into dollars. So having said that, it means you have a luxurious lifestyle, you have a designer assets, right? You have a nice house, you have a nice car. All that makes you feel rich. Of course, it depends on your educational qualifications, where you live, etc., etc. Wealthy is a person who has created other sources of income, so there is more comfort, less of worry about what to do next. 3-4 sources of income, maybe dividend, rent, whatever, right? So this person is actually better off compared to Mr. Rich. Mr. Wealthy is definitely much better off. A high income and therefore a high standard of living looks very good, especially to the people around you, the society around you, but it should actually be creating insecurity. For me, it would create insecurity, because you're always worried that what happens if I lose this job. Suppose I have a clerical job in a MNC and I'm being paid very well. That's because the MNC pays very well. But if I lose that job, let's say I'm getting 25 lakh salary as a senior clerk or senior administrative officer or something like that in an MNC. That's not a bad salary at all. It makes me feel rich, but I also feel paranoid, because if I lose that job, the next job I would get in some other company at say 7-8 lakhs. So do I know how to live on 7-8 lakhs is the question, not whether how much I should live it up by because I'm earning 25 lakhs, right? So then the question is how secure you are earning that money and spending that money, or why you are not investing to get wealthy. We know a lot of cricketers, entertainment professionals in US and in India who were rich, right, earning a very high income, but then they exhausted all their money and they did not have enough money to live, right? Or they would be, say, asset rich but cash flow poor. Let's say Rajesh Khanna had a 500 crore house, right, or something like that. That's the price at which his bungalow got sold. But I don't think his cash flow allowed him to live even a decent life. So some mismatch could happen. Some of those things could happen. When you're rich, if I were rich, I would be paranoid, right? But when you're wealthy, you've created other sources of income for yourself and your family. When you're wealthy, you have created a portfolio, you have a lot of passive income. You know how you're getting all that passive income. It takes a long time to build a passive income, but you built it. You were earning well even 20 years ago. You used all the money, you built an equity portfolio, you built a real estate portfolio, or whatever asset class you are comfortable with. That is growing, or it has a potential to put cash in your hand. If you bought real estate, chances are it is already throwing a lot of rent at you. But if it is an equity portfolio, or let's say a equity mutual fund portfolio, you have built a lot of assets, and that could be used for withdrawing. You may not have any dividend income because you're in the growth option, but you know that you've created enough. Let's say you've created a 10 crore equity portfolio from which you will be able to withdraw at least say 20 lakhs a year, right? So that is the kind of money which you will be able to comfortably withdraw from an equity portfolio. You've created all that. So that is creating wealth, because you have financial independence long term. The greatest thing about financial independence is you don't have to sit and worry about money. What happens if this happens, and what happens if that happens? Why I don't want to do this work? Why I want to do a particular kind of work? It allows you to do all that. That is what being wealthy means, right? So being wealthy has all those advantages put at you. How much wealth should you have doesn't really matter. If you have enough wealth to live for your life, it doesn't matter whether you're in the top 5%, 10%, 1% of your country, whether you're in US, whether you are in any other country. I'm sure you can't feel very rich in a place like Dubai, where everybody is rich, or Brunei, or even US, right? Whereas in India, with a $25,000 annual income, you're obviously going to be rich. With the $25,000 income in the US, you're going to be average, right? So there's a big difference between the two. So age, geographic location, your educational qualification, the ability to create all this cash flow. How do you get from rich to wealthy? So first of all, assuming that you're rich, you've already got yourself a good education or some way how you're getting a current income. So that you already have. So keep on trying to increase your income. Obviously you will pay taxes on your current income. Try to postpone your taxes on investment income. So on wealth, pay less taxes, spend frugally, and invest the remaining. These are the 4 steps which are necessary. It sounds very, very simple, but these are the 4 steps which are necessary for you to go from rich to being wealthy. Thank you. What really distinguishes between rich and wealthy is also largely the rich spend to show off. I mean, I'm generalizing, but when you are living for your external scorecard rather than your internal scorecard, to quote Buffett, when you're worried about your external scorecard, that you buy a car which is meant to show off, to turn heads, etc. When you're doing all those things, the journey from rich to wealthy is not likely to happen very quickly. So the rich man spends money to show off, whereas the wealthy man saves money and invests, right? The wealthy man is busy creating active income. I mean, both of them have enough active income. The wealthy man is creating passive income, and the rich man is not bothered. He's assuming that the job will continue, or the cash flow from that source will continue for the rest of his life. The rich man is more worried about appearance, whereas the wealthy man is more worried about reality, is more on the ground. So I would say Miss Wealthy is smarter than Mr. Rich. Women are more careful about their money and how to create wealth. So maybe it's Miss Wealthy and Mr. Rich. Thank you.